Greetings, beloved. Am I being seen? There we go. Greetings, beloveds. So good to be with you today. And today is going to be a different kind of a show. And I decided that I wanted to share with you for a number of reasons. And that is because although I answered the call to be on this radio show from my friend and colleague, Reverend Robert Brzezinski, excuse me. Initially, it was fun. But then what it turned into an opportunity for me to have a presence here in a greater way that mattered to me because, and I don't mean this to put myself down. So hear me when I say this. I don't come out of anything. I don't come out of a deep religious tradition. I don't come out of a deep spiritual tradition, not by birth. I don't come with a boatload of degrees or education behind me. I just come with what I believe is a bounty of good, logical reasoning, good, good instinct, good wisdom. And most of that wisdom I have gleaned over my 63 years being alive from my mistakes. Most of it is from my mistakes. And so I wanted to have this almost as a gift for you at this time of the year. I didn't want to do it next week, just before Christmas, because I'm going to have the beloved Ty Stevens with me next week. And so I want you to indulge in him, and I didn't want to, split the time between Ty and the message that I wanted you to receive from me. If you're listening and you're in my audience, you've come to me from a few places. But recently I've had the opportunity to reconnect through Facebook only, but reconnect with some family and reconnect with my North Bergen roots, which is in Hudson County. And then, of course, there's just all my beloved current friends and family. And if you haven't seen me for many, many years, not only do I look tremendously different, but you wouldn't know me in the way that you knew me 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. My life has formed me. And that's the message I want to get through to you today, if possible, if you're open to it, is to lean into the idea that your life forms you, but it forms you by your choices and by your attention. Depending upon what you pay attention to, your life is created out of that. Now, I have many things that I've taught over my many years in my classes and in my workshops and the retreats that I facilitate in my one-on-one and my coaching. All these things are ways that I touch the public and touch individuals. So I had, it wasn't easy. I came down with 10 things, 10 main points. And just to let you know, if you email me at revjerseygirl@gmail.com, if you email me, I'll send you this document. And if you are interested in more, I have a document that I will make available to you also through our new organization, which are the spiritual practices that we primarily teach. Okay, are you with me now? I have 10 points that I think without them, I would be in a bundle, curled up in a corner of my room in pain. And these are not easy practices, but I can honestly tell you, that my life, most of my life, works well. I'm happy most of the time, even when life is challenging. And that's what I'm hoping to incite you to reach for. I want to infect in everyone who will listen the idea that there's not an either or in life. And so these are 10 of the many practices that I have used in order to get to where I am. The first one, very important. It sounds so simple and it is so complicated for us Westerners and especially those of us from New Jersey. And it's the practice of non judgment. Now, let's take the esoteric out of it. Let's move away from the idea that you have to be of practicing a Buddhist religion. I'm talking about learning how to look at life in the eye and basically choose, instead of putting something in a category of right and wrong, good and bad, this or that, to come up with a statement. And this is what I use and this is what I teach. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. It's not good, it's not bad, it just is. What that does, practiced over a period of time, is that helps you to loosen your hold on your opinions. The opinions that become rigid, that keep you separate from humanity in so many ways. Come on, this past few years, we've seen a lot of pain and a lot of unrest and a lot of suffering, from the political climate to the racism. And I'm not labeling it right now as good or bad, but we've each had an experience of what's happening. But if we get caught in the experience instead of having some objectivity to it, what happens is we're thrown around like a piece of wood in the ocean. Okay? So if you practice non-judgment, and God knows families around and holidays around, and I bet all of you have lots of opportunities to practice judgment with family. But what if you didn't? What if you chose to stop objecting to something or someone? What if instead of wanting them to be a certain way, you just allowed yourself to experience them? Can you get how different that would feel? That's number one. And that's a lifelong practice. Number two is practice forgiveness. And I mean it, dear God, please practice forgiveness. I have a number of courses that I teach, 6-week long courses on the practice of forgiveness and how to move from being attached to your pain and your suffering to find the freedom. Finding the freedom from your pain is critical to live a life where you can be fully expressed. I'm not just talking about forgiving on a very top level. I mean, deep within your soul. You did the best you could. You did the best you could. Have the people around you, have they not done the best that they could? Have they not experienced and moved through life, just literally doing the best? Remember that our best comes out of trying to survive and rise above conditions. And I don't know about you. I've had some really hard conditions. I believe that you did the best you can. And so for that reason, I propagate lots of compassion. Can you do that for others? And before we go on, I just want to make sure you know you're watching New Thought Media Network. If any of this works for you, if any of this is pleasurable, if you get any kind of upliftment from this show or any of them, please give to this network even a little. It is worthy of your giving. Okay? Having said that, now let's go on to number 3. And this is kind of silly. You've heard about it from the 4 agreements, but that's practicing non-gossip. Now, the reason why this is so important is because gossip is, well, I tell you, my mother spoke 2 languages, 3 languages. English, if you wanted to call it that, with a very thick Jersey City accent, which I now love. When I hear a recording of the way she spoke, it warms my heart. And then there was the language of complaining and the language of gossip. And if you think that's not its own language, think again. We gossip, we respond to gossip, we think nothing about it, we tear down our own lives, we tear down our trust, and we tear down others through that practice. Practicing non-gossip. And this is the way I define it, as I did with a very good friend many years ago. This is a hard definition. I'm just going to give this to you. You can do with it what you will. I say gossip is anytime you're talking about anyone other than yourself, your experience, and your feelings. So, what if you're reporting someone else's good news? Is that gossip? Well, yes, according to my definition, it would be. Because isn't it their good news to share? As a matter of fact, we practice this so much in my family now that I ask my sons permission to brag about them. I won't even just jump on it because I want to, but I have to ask permission first because I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. Practicing non-gossip will also create for you very trustworthy relationships, extremely trustworthy relationships. Because trust me, if you're gossiping about someone else, that person knows that you'll also gossip about them. And that's a complete breakdown in relationships. Okay. Oh, I've done many memorial services. And every memorial service, someone says that they wish they had called, they wish they had been connected. And so services are riddled with regret. And every time I do that, the next Sunday at my congregation, I go and I say to them, please, dear God, call the people you love. And even call the people that you're not feeling the love for, but that you're connected to. And if they were gone, you would regret it. Live a life without regrets. Practice the love. Practice reaching out. Tell people you love them. Even if you don't always mean it. It sounds kind of funny, but you'll come around because if you're practicing forgiveness also, you're going to open up that space inside of you. And remember, everything that comes out of your mouth cannot be yes, yes, yeah. Like if someone's going to have another baby, I see a comment coming through from my husband because when my son and his wife were pregnant, I couldn't go on Facebook and say anything because they were so excited. But the that was had to do with the gossip. I digress for a second, but you're with me. The thing about the regrets is even everything that comes out of your mouth, you can't take it back. Live a life that everything that comes out of your mouth is something you can live with 5 minutes from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now. Because we create as we speak. All right? We create by our word. Okay, number 5, give. Give, give, give. Give of yourself, give of your talents, give of your love, give of your treasures, give yourself away. Do it in ways that are obvious and ways that are not obvious. Give anonymous gifts. When you give an anonymous gift, you leave the person receiving the gift wondering, who did this for me? How magical is that? Give, give freely. You can't outgive God. You can't outgive God. The more you give of yourself, the more you receive. Be in the flow. Please be in the flow. Okay. Number 6, choose to believe that all of life is working for you on your behalf. Now, this is a little difficult. And right now, we're stuck in the middle of COVID. Many of us have lost family members and friends to COVID, or we've lost family and friends in hospital that we couldn't go see. We couldn't be next to them. So there's a lot of individual and collective grieving happening right now, and we have to pay attention to that. Yet, behind that, we walk through life and we make certain assumptions. I am suggesting that since you're going to make an assumption anyway, because often that's what we all do, assume that life is working for you. Assume that you're worthy of good. Assume that life is in order. And I'm slowing down so you really get them. It is a common thing for us, for humans, to go down the road of oh, ain't it awful. I want to encourage you to resist that. Resist giving it language. Resist giving it any airtime. Speak words of anticipation and anticipate life that works. Even if you don't believe it at first, even if you can't understand it at first, just practice. Practice, practice, practice. Number 7, and oh, God bless my first spiritual teacher, who was Reverend Dr. Rita Sperling Rogers, as she when she passed from this planet. That was her final name. She was at on Lincoln Street in Jersey City. She was my spiritual teacher. She was my landlord. She married my ex-husband and myself. She blessed my children, my first 2 children, when they were born. She was just everywhere in my life. And the message she gave, that I think is the single most critical message for you, for me, and for everyone, and I do not mean this from a place of any narcissistic place, is learn to raise your self-love quotient. And what that means is learn to love yourself as you are and as you are not. I am never going to be 5'10", blonde and skinny. It's not going to happen. So I learned to love myself as I'm not. I'm going to learn to love myself. And this is, I think, key to how I've been able to show up in the world in a very available way. I accept myself as this woman born in Jersey City, out of Hudson County, a normal, straight shooting, available, transparent person who is not going to play games. I'm just in life. And so I'm going to learn to love that aspect of me. I'm going to learn to love that. And the truth is, whether it's here in the show at the moment, but all of what we talk about in New Thought Media Network, all of it is about understanding your oneness with intelligence, with life, and all of that. And then out of that, we glean the skills and the potency to be fully expressed. Okay? Learn to love yourself as you are. Please, dear God, you deserve it. Mistakes and all of your foibles, all of your failings. I have failed so often, I'm not even afraid of it anymore. Okay, here's a very, very big one. Choose to believe you are worthy. And I want to remind you, if you want a copy of this, just email me at revjerseygirl@gmail.com and I'll send you a copy of this, okay? Choose to believe you are worthy, and not worthy because you did the right thing, not worthy because of the color of your skin, not worthy because of where you were born, because of how much money you've earned, not worthy because of the degrees following your name, but because you are. If you are alive and breathing, you are worthy. I'm telling you, these things are so important. They're so important to remember. Number 9, give up the habit of worry. Worry never gets you what you want. And sometimes I think things are a cliche and we've all heard them, but I'm just going to say them again because maybe you're the one person who has it. But worry is a down payment in what you don't want. Worry has the same impact as prayer, but you're unwittingly worrying yourself into a situation for something you don't want, for an unwanted outcome. Stop the practice of worrying. It's not the way you love somebody. That's what everyone says. Well, if you care about me, you worry. Or when I care about somebody, I worry about them. No, no. If you care about somebody, you hold them high. You'll think about them as whole and complete. If you want someone to care for you, don't ask them to worry for you. Ask them to love you, to see perfection in you. And this goes on, this goes beyond religion, this goes beyond spirituality. This is just you as a being because we resonate with each other. And while we're resonating with each other, we also get to live in right relationship with life itself. And life itself is feeding us at a energetic and a vibrational level. And so when we align with that oneness, we are lifted. And believe me, I'm here to tell you, please don't ever, if you care about me, don't think about me if you only know how to worry. Don't. I don't want it. I don't want that energy around me. As a matter of fact, the other day, quite spontaneously, there was one of my coworkers. We were in the office together, and she's been having her husband needs surgery, and there was a challenge going on, and they kept changing the dates with the hospital and the holidays and everything being so full. It was very challenging. So she was. They were trying to get his surgery date finished, and I could have, if I was unaware, looked and said, "Oh, I'm so worried about you. I hope it's okay." But I didn't. I turned to her and I said, "I know right now that the date is going to work out perfectly. The hospital is going to be available. That you're going to get the perfect surgeon and the perfect doctors and the perfect care." She called me the next day to tell me, "Yes, indeed, the date was set, and it's set in a better time than they were originally anticipating because he's in a lot of pain and he needs to be out of pain." So worry is not an action of love. Okay, one more time, one more plug for New Thought Media and Radio. Once again, you are listening to the New Thought Media Network. They have programming. They have done a tremendous job. They have prayers twice a day and talk shows. And what I love is that we're international now because we have Lauren Topper from England and then many local shows. We have brilliant, wonderful. Ah, there you go. And if you want to scan some or show the some of the other shows, Diego, please feel free. Oh, there you go. Yes, Michael Mangus. Yes, beautiful. We have a ministers talking shit on Friday mornings, which should be right up the alley for you North Bergen people and Hudson County people. Yep, there you go. So please give to this network. Keep them alive. Keep the inspiration coming. Okay, number 10. Here's a biggie. And this is oh this is one that very possibly is the most challenging, but it gives the best rewards, the biggest rewards. And take it gently as I say it. Take it in gently as I say it, okay? Because I'll say it first, then I'll explain. Take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility. Remember, taking responsibility is not taking blame. Taking responsibility is not being in shame. Taking responsibility can happen at three different times. You either take responsibility for what you've already created, and that needs a lot of explanation, but it's true, or take responsibility for how you respond to what happened. But most definitely, take a responsibility for what's coming. And that's what all these other practices are about. The practices of speaking your word wisely, the practice of not being in worry, the practice of assuming that life is working for you on your behalf. All of those things happen because as you're taking responsibility for what you create, you do so mindfully. You do so mindfully. And part of being bold and brilliant, by the way, is about being with a sense of celebration. Matter of fact, I want to remember to invite you to something. This Monday night, my spiritual center, the Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey will be sponsoring a solstice celebration with some brilliant, brilliant readings from all original pieces from our practitioners. And there is, you can go to my Facebook page for either Rev Jersey Girl or Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, and you can register to be there. It's free or it's a donation. We'd love for you to give something because we pay our musicians. We have been doing everything we can to take care of our musicians during these very hard times where they don't have gigs. So please, come and join us, and then next week we'll have Ty, and we'll be able to talk about that together and talk about how the solstice turned out. Life is life is not meant to be so hard. Some of you are having a hard time right now. Some of you are alone. Some of you are in pain. Some of you are dealing with ill health. But please don't for a second think it's normal. Don't think you deserve it. Not for a second. Allow yourself, really allow yourself to embrace the idea that you were put on this earth to have a brilliant experience. If something has interrupted that, so be it. Let's deal with it where it's at. But please, dear God, not for a second, not for a second should you settle into that. Not for not for a second should you lay down and think that you deserve to suffer out of something you've done. We can all be redeemed. All of us can be redeemed. All of us have the right to rise up, to experience the beauty of life. And right now, I'm going to ask you to do something else. Call a neighbor, call a friend. People are frightened and they're lonely. Call somebody. Be the gift of life itself. Be the gift that keeps on giving through your love. Not only will the other benefit, but you yourself will benefit. You will your sense of self will increase, and you'll get a sense of your own worthiness in a greater way simply by giving. Remember on number whatever number that was, number 5, give, give, give. So again, if you want a copy of this, send me an email. I'll send it to you. I'll send you other information if you want to find out about other programming. Just ask me for it. If you'd really like to dive in, and I want to thank you to Reverend Jim Stark, my colleague and good friend who's out of Florida. His company is called Spirit Education, and it's online education. And he has done so much to support me in bringing this programming, this forgiveness program, and the shadow work. And all of it is with the principle that we deserve and with the power of prayer. And if you want to know about any of that, you can ask me in the email. But more than that, the holidays are upon us. We're smack in the middle of it. And we have one more week before the holiday season. And I'll be here next week with Ty Stevens, a beautiful, brilliant, oh my God, musician, loved by all. In the coming weeks, we will have David Alexander, and we will have Tracy Brown, and other names I can't remember at the moment, but the shows will continue. We're here to inspire you to love yourself. and to know that there's a little bit of Jersey in all of us, in each and every one of us. So I'm just loving you right now, and hope for you that you are willing to love yourself in the same way. Don't be fooled by what the world tells you. Don't don't let them have at you. Okay? You're more than that. Blessings, beloveds. I'll see you again next week at this time, or on Facebook, or wherever I see you. Be well, be happy, and be extraordinarily expressed in the most beautiful way. Namaste. Talk to you soon.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.